Hey, so thanks for finding me. I bet you stopped by because you're looking to learn more about this puppy and how I got this look. This is the Marc Jacobs Eye-Conic in Scandalust, and I am, overused term, but I can't help it, obsessed. It's got a great selection of colors, not too much, not too little. The colors are so easy to apply. They're super flattering for people with hazel or green eyes. Just the purple and the pinks and the roses really pull out the green in your eyes. So I also pull out some other of my Marc Jacobs favorites lately, including a bronzer highlight called Instamark. I use the coconut setting powder, and then I also use my favorite Marc Jacobs lip rouge and lip gloss combination. I just go through kind of like what I go through on a day-to-day basis to get a look like this. So if you're looking to either get this look or get some inspiration on how to use this beautiful baby, definitely keep watching. So I did go ahead and get a kickstart on my face. I started with some MAC Prep and Prime Natural Radiance in the pink Radiance, and then I went in with a little bit of foundation, the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Foundation, which I am in 6.25. To apply the foundation, I used my favorite foundation brush at the moment, the e.l.f. Foundation Blurring Brush. I just love this because it's, I don't know, $3 to $5, number one. Number two, it's just a great size where, you can get your foundation blended pretty quick, but it's still defined for those like smaller places. Go ahead and use the good old Shape Tape from Tarte. I am using light neutral today, and then I'm going to use a MAC eyeshadow brush to apply this, but I really like this for concealer. I'll just take it with this MAC, I should mention, it's the MAC 224 brush. So I'm just lightly applying that and then pulling down. And then of course I will blot all of this out with a beauty blender. I did prep actually before my foundation with the Too Faced Shadow Insurance. Too light, but I mean, I look like, what is that, Phantom of the Opera? As I was applying this, I was trying to kind of contour out my nose, if you could see how I kind of pulled it inward in a little bit. So I also do use whatever is left on my hand to do a little more contouring, kind of in the highlight areas, where I'll drag a little bit down my nose. And if I screw it up, kind of like I did now, I usually don't put that much on, I'll just work it out with my beauty blender. For the cream contour, I'm using my very favorite Burberry face contour stick. I am in shade medium. It's like a crayon, and I just put it in all of the places that you would cream contour. To blend all this out, I actually won't go back in with my beauty blender. I have recently been going back in with this e.l.f. foundation blurring brush because I feel like it takes less time and it looks just as blurred out as when I use the beauty blender, so that's why I do that. As I typically do, I am going to top off that cream bronzer with powder bronzer. I have to do that because I just have very oily skin, and cream bronzer alone would never stay on me, maybe for like an hour. I'm gonna go in with Instamark. This is in 40 Mirage Filter. I love this combination. I've been using it nonstop lately. It's just got this really beautiful bronzer color that is that more like taupey, like grayish color, as opposed to the more orangey color. Don't get me wrong, I love like orangey, orangey bronzers, but I like to keep that more towards the summer when I actually have like some skin color on me. And I really like this highlight here. I will use this not only to kind of almost like pre-setting powder my highlight areas, but I'll also use it when I'm using an eye palette that doesn't have a matching setting powder for my eye primer. I'll use this banana powder, such as I'll do today. But to start, I'm going to go in with this powder, the bronzing powder, and to do that, I'm going to go in with the e.l.f. Flawless Face Brush, pretty much the only brush I've been using lately for bronzer, like every day. I'll just swipe that back and forth a little bit, and then just hit all of the areas that I do with my cream bronzer. Since I have this out, I am going to go ahead and set my eyes that I already primed with the banana powder with this good old Wet n Wild eyeshadow brush. This is just a great cheap brush, kind of that can be used as an all-purpose eyeshadow brush when you're just using quick color or if you need to set or really anything. I've got a handful of these for just random stuff. It's a really good brush. For my setting powder on my eyes, the Laura Mercier Secret Brightening Powder, and then I go in with a little bit of the Laura Mercier Translucent Setting Powder. And I'll go in using, really for both of those, the Sephora Pro Brush. It's number 90. When I'm doing a full face routine, I spray my face with setting powder twice. Once when I'm done with my like base part of it before I get to my eyeshadow, and then once at the end, once like my full face is actually done. And I find that when I do like a first round of spray, it just like calms my skin down, keeps it, I guess, a little cool, balances it, and gets me through the makeup session, and then I do it once more. I have been using the Marc Jacobs Recover setting spray. It's the coconut setting spray. So while I'm really excited to get into eyeshadow, I do need to take care of my brows first, so you can all stop looking at this situation. So let me get that wrapped up and then we'll get right into the eyeshadow. I finally finished my eyebrows. That took a while, as always. So the first one at the office, I'm going to use the Sephora Pro Crease number 10. They don't have too much fallout, some more than others, so you still want to be careful, but they're pretty easy to use, and you don't have to be like super careful with them. I will be following up with this shade, which is called That's Why. Now, I'm not going in with That's Why right away, because when I have a couple times, I found that it looks a little too harsh on my skin, as opposed to when I kind of layer up with this. I am choosing to go in with another Sephora brush. It's the Sephora Pro Featherweight Crease in number 38. I just love this brush so much because it's very soft but defined, but you can also use it as like a all-in-one. Like if you're in a rush or if you just don't want to deal with all your brushes that day, this does a lot for you. And it's just because it's a really great shape. So that's why I'm using it. At the same time, like if I wanted to use this for that more bronze shade, I could. It's just like to have fun with different options. I do find that this color here does have a little bit more pickup than some of the other ones. I don't know why, but you just kind of learn that really quickly, and then you just get a little more careful at dipping into it. So dipping in, tapping off, all that good stuff, and then using the same process. You'll find that everything I do on my top lid, I also do on my lower lash line. Going in with the same brush and just very lightly swiping back and forth. Next, I'm going to go in with this color. It's called Scandalust. What do you know? And I'm going to go ahead and put that on top of the lid. Going in with a flat definer brush, the MAC 239 brush, just because it's a great size and a great density for pressing bold colors or really any colors on the lid. So as you can see, it's very bold. I wouldn't say there's fallout in this. I guess I wouldn't know because I'm pressing into it, but it picks up a lot of color. So I definitely make sure I dab out. Now, how I apply this is that I actually start at the lash line and then work my way up. And I'll go ahead and take just the tip, dip it in some of the pink, and then take a little bit on my lower lash line. And think of the application as kind of like a sloppy eyeliner, where it is very targeted, but not. And I would say with this pink alone, any hazel or green-eyed girls can be sold that this is going to make your hazel or green eyes pop. Now I'll get into Little Miss, this purple color. I'll be using that to start to really just define out the outer part of my eye, and I'll be applying that with this e.l.f. eyeshadow C brush. Now with this color, I just really try to control myself because I don't want to get stuck in a position where I can't blend it out, and then I'll actually put the color on both lids before I start shading out, just because I want to make sure it's mostly applied and off my brush before I start shading. So I'd say that this color, takes me the most time just because I want to make sure I have enough of that to define the look and define my eye, but I don't want to have anything less than very blended colors going on. What I do like about this brush is, you'll see that I'm pressing the color and then dragging down a little bit, but then as I'm working down, it gets to a point where I do want to, blend that into the crease more. I'll just turn it so that it's vertical, and I'll just blend it that way, only at the end, like once I know that all the stuff is out. And I just find that this brush does a great job at keeping that color where it should be, but at the same time blending it out with the rest of the look. I am also getting some of that dark purple shade and dragging it, but this time only at the outer corner of my inner lash line. No, outer corner of my lower lash line. There we go. I've got some beautiful matte shades going on, but I do, as a rule, like a mix of matte and shimmer, which is again why I'm obsessed with this palette. At this point, I'm going to go in with this color they call Her. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my finger because I think, using these shades, these shimmer shades with your finger, in my opinion, is way more effective because it's not as dramatic as if you wet a brush and then apply it, which that's not what I'm going for. But also when you apply it with a brush dry, sometimes it's not as pronounced as you want. So when I apply with my finger, I find that I just get the perfect amount of outright shimmer as what I'm looking for. So I'm just patting that and then blending out, and it's giving me this awesome gradient look. And I'm obsessed with this rose gold bronzy color. Now I'm going to hit my inner lids with a little bit of this color called, what is it called? Cause a Fuss. And I just wiped off my finger, so I'm going to go back in with my ring finger, just tapping a little bit of that on. And, trying to stay within the lines, but, you don't really need to, because I'm going to clean that up with the last shade that I use in my inner corner and on my brow bone. So it's okay not to be perfect here. And I just love this because it's really a very blended gradient look. I'm gonna go in with this Morphe E36 brush that it's just this little mini, almost it's not a pencil brush, but kind of. And I'm just going to first just blend that out. That's nice and soft, which just kind of fell on there. Then I'm going to take this brush and I'm going to go in with the last shade called Hot Pants. And I'll take that, press it into my kind of tear duct or inner corner. I love this color because it's not too flashy or too pronounced, that it's the look is directed to your inner corner, but at the same time it really brightens up the areas. It's a great eye highlighter. And then I'll take a little bit and just put it up at the brow bone. So my liner and mascara is taken care of. For the liner I used, the Smashbox Always Sharp, and I think it's called 3D Sparks. It's this really dark khaki color with the perfect amount of shimmer. This is such a cool liner though, because every time you twist off the cap, twist it back on, it sharpens itself. For mascara today, I used the normal primer, the Grande primer. I always use this every single time, no lie, that I apply mascara. Where I normally use other mascaras, I did use the Voluminous Lash Paradise from L'Oreal. I do really like this mascara, but I don't think, it might be something where I don't think it goes as well with this primer. It just feels a little drier as opposed to the L'Oreal Voluminous Carbon Black or even the Benefit Bad Gal. Now getting into blush, I'm actually going to grab for the Becca Après Ski palette. What really, besides me just loving this palette, what really gets me to use this today is that I'm going to try this blush because I feel like it goes with the They Call Her color. Let me see if I can't line it up. I feel like they look so similar. These colors just really speak to me. This is called Rose Quartz, this one, which I think is a great name. It looks like rose quartz. For the blush brush, I am going to use the Real Techniques multitask brush here. just a fabulous all-star blush brush. I went kind of ham on the blush, but that's how I roll. Let's just say it could have been a lot worse, but I am a blush girl, so I am happy with this. But yeah, if you wanted to, you could still go a little lighter on that blush. Now for the highlight, I'm going to stick with this palette, and I think I'm going to mix these two just because it seems like a highlight version of the rose quartz. So I'll take this Sephora Pro Contour in 79 and just go back and forth like that, really casual. Because my skin is so oily, I'm really just gonna keep this to that brow bone highlight kind of situation and the tip of my nose and my cupid's brow. Cupid's brow, is that what it's called? Cupid's bow. Cupid's bow. Okay, so my highlight is on fleek. I hate that term. Sticking with the homage to Marc Jacobs beauty theme, I'm going in with the Marc Jacobs La Marque Rouge and Slow Burn. It's just this really pretty nude mauvey color that's like not too mauvey in this case. And then I'm going to top it off with the Marc Jacobs lip gloss in Sugar Sugar. And one more spritz of the Marc Jacobs setting spray. Sorry, I meant to say 20 more spritzes of the Marc Jacobs setting spray. So that is the finished look. This is the just latest, greatest, most favorite full face makeup look that I am wearing right now, featuring the Marc Jacobs Eye-Conic eye palette in Scandalust. Other than that, thank you for watching. Stay tuned, and I will see you in my next video.